peace.
No justice.
No 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 peace.
All right, everybody. We need everybody to turn this thing up. We need everybody to turn it up.
Woo!
All right, here we go.
Are we ready? All right. This is going to be a protest today.
Yeah.
All right, we need everybody to wake up this morning. We are out here because we don't want any more slumlords in our community, in our neighborhoods. And today is supposed to be a day where a man, several people who own Barber Gardens are going before the judge today for 16 counts. 16 counts of keeping people in harm. Make some noise for that. Make some noise. Make some noise. And I'm honored to have 1199 out here with us. Some of our folks from 1199. Make some noise for 1199. Shout out to our clergy members. Shout out to Mayor Bronin. Shout out to Congressman Larson's office. Shout out to every media. Shout out to the Christian Activities Council. So let's make this thing right. No more.
Slumlords.
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 No more. Come on, Mel. No more.
Slumlords.
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 No justice.
No peace.
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 What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
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 no justice,
No peace.
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 no justice.
No peace.
Listen, again, we are out here to let the city know that we don't want any more slumlords in our community.
Yeah.
Come on, thank you, Taisha. We don't want any more slumlords
Yes.
in our state.
Oh.
We don't want any more slumlords in our city.
No.
And we are out here today, and my favorite sign that's out here today, Shanoa made. Shanoa, where are you? Shanoa, come here, Shanoa. One of the signs that was made today by a Barber Gardens resident is landlords like all other men love to reap where they never sow. I'm going to say it again. Landlords like all other men love to reap where they never sowed. And this is the case of Barber Gardens and many other properties in Hartford. When New York landlords, New York investors come into our community with unaccountable housing, take all of the money and never invest in our neighborhood or never invest in the people that live in these apartments. And we're out here to say, enough is enough. Make some noise if you had enough. Make some noise if you had enough. So enough is enough. Another sign out here says, the days of slumlords in Hartford are numbered. Make some noise for that. We have partnered with the city to make sure that this does not happen. We have a lot more work to do. We have a lot more slumlords to get out of here. But today, it is about the Barber Gardens owners. Today, it's about the Barber Garden owners who are supposed to be in court today. In a few moments, we are going to go in the court. And listen, I'm not sure if the owner is going to show up today. But if he does not show up today, we have the right in that court to make our intentions known. So if he doesn't show up today, we have to make a statement. If he shows up today, we hope that justice is given. So what do we want?
Justice!
What do we want?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
if we don't get it, if we don't get it,
Shut it down!
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 what do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it,
Shut it down!
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 no justice,
No peace!
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 no justice,
No
I
peace.
can't hear you, no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
No peace!
no justice,
Joining me right now is a resident, a former resident of Barber Gardens. Are you still there now? You're still there now. Tell me your name, ma'am.
Shanawa Gallo.
And for you, this really is very personal, right? How long have you lived at Barber Gardens?
13 years.
Wow. And for those 13 years, how many years of them had these deplorable conditions?
The majority of them. Most of them. All of them.
Describe for viewers who are watching the types of conditions that you were subjected to living in.
Mold, mildew, had mushrooms growing out of the floor. The floor in the living room and my bedroom are like a wave. It's not level. I have an awful smell coming out of my bedroom closet that's been like that since I moved in. Nobody has done anything about it.
Do you have children? Do you live in a family?
Yes, 2.
How old are your kids?
13 and 8.
So are you concerned for them and their health and safety living amongst us?
Yes, my daughter has asthma, and the mold and the mildew triggers it and causes her to have issues.
So I assume you've made complaints about this to the management office and other people?
Yes.
It's no avail?
No, it's hard to get a response. They don't respond accordingly as they should.
If this gentleman shows up in court today, if you could talk to him, what would you say?
Why? Like, why would he sit back, cash the check, and leave us with no repairs, no fixing, no answers, just nothing, just cashing the check? That's all he's doing.
What do you think should happen to someone like that?
I think he should be put in jail so he can live in those conditions to see how we feel and what we've been going through.
So I'm trying to understand because they took away the Section 8 housing voucher. You know, he was getting Section 8 reimbursement. So how is that working for you since that's not involved in this equation anymore?
Oh, from my understanding, he does still receive it because we currently live
Because
there.
you're under the Section 8.
Right.
Oh, I see.
So until we're all out, then he won't receive it anymore.
Because some people receive vouchers to move and go to other apartments, but I guess talking to you, it's not everybody.
Everybody did receive it, but until we have a timeline to get out. So I guess when that timeline expires, then he will no longer receive the HUD assistance.
So what will you do? Will you go somewhere? Will you try and find somewhere that has better conditions?
Yes, I'm currently looking for an apartment now.
This has been very hard, right? I think people don't understand, many of us, what it must be like to have situations with rodent droppings and mold and no fire alarms. I mean, that's really distressing stuff. It's heavy stuff.
Yes, it is. It's real serious. Concerning for your families. There's always a worry because you never know what's going to happen, especially without having a fire system.
Are you hopeful that a protest like this is going to really make people who are otherwise unaware of this aware of it?
Yes, I'm very happy about it. That's why I'm standing here.
Let's see what your sign says. Yours says, landlords like all other men love to reap where they never sow. So your statement is, people haven't walked in your shoes?
Right. I really do.
Just say your name and spell it for me so I can credit you properly.
Shanoa Gallup, SHANOAHGALLUP.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with us and tell us your story. I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Joining me now is Hartford Mayor Luke Bronin, who is participating in this protest as well. You've been very vocal on this issue. What do you feel that should happen to this landlord?
Look, I think it's really important to say this is a landlord who has extracted rent and resources out of this community, has never invested in these buildings, and hasn't just let them fall into deplorable conditions, but put lives at risk. The reason this landlord is in court, this slumlord is in court today, is because they had countless violations of the fire code. That's about life safety. So we are going to go after them aggressively. We take this very seriously, and we want to send a very clear message to this property owner, but to all property owners, that they need to invest in their properties. They need to provide adequate, healthy, safe living conditions, and they need to make sure that they are taking life safety issues very seriously. So I hope the court holds them accountable today.
Well, I understand that these different counts, I think it's 16 counts, can be punishable by 6 months for each count and a $1,000 fine. So that's potentially 8 years in prison. I mean, do you think that could actually come to fruition?
Look, I don't know what the court will do, but I hope that the court joins us in sending a powerful message. HUD has finally pulled back the subsidy contract, and that sent a message. But this is a really powerful opportunity to send a message, again, not just to this landlord, this slumlord, but to everybody else who thinks that they can let these buildings fall into deplorable conditions, force people to live in just awful living conditions, but not just that, put lives at risk. So I hope the court takes this as seriously as everybody out here does.
How do you think it's possible, though, that he got away with this for so long? I just interviewed a woman who said she's been there for 13 years and this has been going on. So, obviously there are inspections and safety inspections done. How did this go on for so long?
One of the things that this has brought to light is some real problems with the HUD inspection regime. This property actually scored pretty well on the HUD inspection regime, and then when they came back, it scored terribly.
9 out of 100.
Right, and so that's an issue that we've spent a lot of time talking with HUD about. And then we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can on our side to step up our own inspections and fire. But one of the things is we ask residents to make sure that they are making those complaints, because we've got limited resources. It's best for us if we know that there are residents who are living in conditions like this, then we can prioritize our own efforts to push HUD, to push these landlords, and to use every tool at our disposal. And that's what today's about. We were trying to get aggressive and creative using every tool at our disposal. So not just housing inspections, but also fire code inspections, where there's a little bit more force, a little bit more authority, and as you said before, a criminal hook.
Yes, that is the criminal hook, isn't it? Because then you are legitimately putting lives at risk.
That's right.
Other things can be gray areas argued, but that you can't.
That's right, and I think some of these slumlords just view, fines and liens as a cost of doing business. But when you talk about, fire code, that's a criminal offense, and so we're gonna make full use to make sure that we're putting pressure on these slumlords to do what they have an obligation to do.
I think this guy's actually going to show up in court.
We'll see. I don't think he spent a lot of time in Hartford, but I hope he shows up today. Thank you.
Slumlords got to go. No peace. No justice. 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 No peace. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. 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 No justice. No peace. 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 Hey, 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 ho, ho. Slumlords gotta go. 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 Hey, hey, ho, ho. Slumlords gotta go.
All right. Well, all right. Hold on.
Anyway, I would like to thank the Men of Color Alliance from Trinity coming out with us. I would like to thank everyone for supporting the Barber Gardens residents. Make some noise for the Barber Gardens residents. We know that Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock is a hard time for everybody to readjust their schedules. So we are deeply appreciate you coming out today, taking your morning to be with us on such an important matter. Again, these slumlords come into our city, come into Hartford, Connecticut, and buy property and don't put any money into the property. But that's right. But they take federal dollars, our tax money, to allow good people to live in deplorable conditions. And that's not right. Somebody say that's not right. That's not right. That's not right. That's not right. So we are here today to let Adar Realty Company, who owns property, which we call Barber Gardens, an investment group out of New York City, to let them know that today is the last day that they're going to have this kind of activity in our community. Say no more! 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 No more!
Slumlords got to go. No justice. No peace. 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 Listen for a moment. I would like you to hear from a Barber Gardens resident, Miss Shanoa, and she has been going through a lot in her apartment, going through a lot on that complex. So I just want to lend her the floor just so you can listen to her experience. And then we're going to hear from Mayor Bronin, and then we're going to hear from State Representative Brandon McGee, where these properties rest in his district. And he's going to tell you about some legislation that he put forward. Can we make some noise for Shanoa?
How long you been there? I got it. Yeah.
I've been living at Barber Gardens for 13 years. The entire time I've been living there, I've been having issues from the time I moved in. Right.
Yeah,
right there. Testing.
Testing.
You good.
I've been having issues the entire time I've been living there. I've made maintenance aware of it. No one has done anything.
Let's speak up. Yeah.
All right.
Let's go, girl.
Maintenance hasn't done anything to resolve my issue.
Whoa!
No one has done anything about the mold and the mildew in my unit. I fell down the stairs. I was on crutches. My crutches went through the floor into my neighbor's ceiling. That's not right.
That's not right.
She said I was going to call you back. Call me back? I got a hole in my ground. Are you serious? It's annoying. It's frustrating.
And so we are here today to support Shanoa. We are here today to support all of the Barber Gardens residents. Make some noise, Barber Gardens residents. Right now, thank you, Shanoa, for sharing that. Shanoa was on crutches, and the floor in her apartment was so weak that when she stepped with her crutch, the crutch fell all the way down to her neighbor's apartment. Now, this is an apartment building that's receiving over $500,000 in federal subsidy.
That's not right.
For the past 10 years. And you're telling me that the floor has not been addressed when you're receiving this much money for our federal government. Somebody say that's not right.
That's not right.
And these landlords are pocketing these subsidies and investing it in other areas, which is not our community. And we want this to be shut down. Say no more! No more! Right now we're going to have Mayor Bronin come and talk to us about what the city's doing on this matter. Please make some noise for Mayor Bronin.
Yep. Yep, just talk. Yep.
All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you, Shanoa, for sharing your story. Thanks to all the residents of Barber Gardens who are out here today. Christian Activities Council 1199. You all have been working hard at this for a long, long time, and you've already had some victories getting HUD to pull their contract, which they hardly ever do, getting those vouchers. But look, the bottom line is, this is a slumlord who has extracted resources, extracted rent from your building, from the federal government for years. And they didn't just let these buildings fall into deplorable conditions that nobody should have to live in, with little kids living with mold, with ceilings in the bathrooms where you can look up through floors, with windows and doors that don't close. But let's be clear about what today is about. It's not just that this landlord let these conditions get worse and worse and worse. They didn't even pay attention to life safety. This is about violations of the fire code. 16 counts of criminal conduct by not paying attention to the fire code. And what we're going to do, working with you, is use every tool we've got. That's why we had our fire inspectors out there with our housing inspectors to make sure that we could bring criminal charges. Because the truth is, some of these landlords, some of these slumlords, they view fines, they view liens, they view your pressure as just the cost of doing business. But when it comes to this fire code, it's a criminal offense.
That's right.
And I hope that they have the courage to show up and explain their conduct before the court today. I bet they won't. But either way, you guys have shown a lot of courage to come out to already push for some changes, and I'm proud to stand with you this morning.
Thank you, man.
Can we make some noise for Mayor Cronin, please? Awesome. Now we have Representative Brandon McGee, who represents the 5th district in our city. My neighborhood that I grew up in, his neighborhood that he grew up in, and they just passed out of committee some legislation that he'll talk more about. Can we please make some noise for Representative McGee?
Nobody.
Give it up for yourselves for being out here advocating and putting a lot of these slumlords on notice.
Right.
I'm here to stand in solidarity with each and every one of you. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for all of you sharing your stories. Just recently, about 2 weeks ago, on the floor in the House of Representatives, I stood before my colleagues and I put forth alongside our majority leader, Representative Matt Ritter, the Landlord Registry Bill. It is House Bill 7225, and it's very simple. Very simple. What we want is to close the loophole that many of these LLCs that have been created in our city and to hold them accountable. What am I saying? Many of these slumlords that are coming into town from New York and other places have been creating shell organizations.
That's right.
And getting away with murder.
That's
all
right.
right? I see some of your signs here. It is very true. Our folks are living in some of the most worst conditions. Our animals wouldn't even stay in the conditions that many of our residents have lived in. So this bill will do a couple things. It would require all of the LLCs and landlords to register with the state of Connecticut as well as the municipalities. They have 21 days to register. What's unique about this bill is we're focusing on the individuals that actually receive the money. Anyone financially responsible and benefiting from our housing units and have HUD contracts, they will be fined. They will be prosecuted as a result of this bill. So I'm so honored that you all are out here fighting. We'll continue to fight with you. We're going in there today and we're going to hold him accountable and anybody else who want to do some bad policy, some bad business in our city. So again, no more slumlords in the city of Hartford. Thank you so much. Thank you, AJ, for pulling it through, and CAC. I've seen your executive director. She in the back. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Representative McGee. This is what you call a collaboration, when city and state work together to make sure that the residents don't have to live in these conditions. And I want to shout out the organizing efforts of these residents. This is not an AJ show. This is not a CAC show. But this only got to this point by the residents that worked hard to meet with Congressman Larson, to meet with Mayor Cronin, to meet with Matt Ritter, to meet with Representative McGee, to meet with our delegation to let them know the seriousness of this matter. There will be no economic development in Hartford until there is social justice. I will say that again. There will be no economic development in the city of Hartford until there is social justice in our neighborhoods. And the way that we make our neighborhoods better is by allowing people who live in these units to own their units. I can't get no help in here today. Nobody should live in someplace 30 years and not own where they live. I'll say it again. No one should live in these conditions for 30 years and not own where they live. So we have to do a better job getting our people to own where they live. Right now, I want to bring up one of the persons who started this No More Slumlords with us. I would like to bring up Mr. Joshua Serrano to have some remarks. Can we put our hands together for Joshua Serrano?
Go, boy!
Go, Joshua.
Wow. I'm honored to be here and standing with you guys today.
You criminal?
You know, we started this No More Slumlord campaign over at Clay Arsenal.
That's right.
We were combating against a notorious slumlord from New York City, and I mean notorious because he had a past in Alabama, he had a past in Georgia. You know, they named, they had a whole anti-coup law named after him in New York City. He was categorized as the top 5 worst slumlord in New York City. For you to be top 5 in something in New York City, you got to be real good at it.
That's right.
You got to be real good at it. And I just want to say, I am honored to the efforts that my fellow community members from Barber Gardens have been putting up, the effort from my colleagues at the Christian Activities Council, the vision from our Executive Director, Corey Mackey, for knowing that this neighborhood, these neighborhoods needed change, they needed a direction, they needed the chance to empower themselves to do better for themselves, and also to stop the injustice that is so much going in the greater Hartford neighborhood.
That's right.
And I just want to say, man, I am so honored. So one time, just for the peoples, no more slumlords! No more slumlords! Thank you all very much. Shout out to Mayor Bronin for being here. Senator McGee right here for being here.
Senator McGee.
And everybody else that came out here to support us today. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we give it up for Just Listen, I would like to thank all of our clergy members that are out here today. Wave your hand if you're a clergy member, if you're a pastor of a church or senior warden. We thank all of our clergy for being out here. We thank Catholic Charities for being out here with us. Pat Williams. We thank Men of Color Alliance. We thank Urban Hope Refuge Church. We thank 1199. We thank Calling All Brothers. We thank Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity. We thank Congressman Larson's office, Council President Glendon Thames' office. We thank everyone for being here. So in a few moments, we are going to go in the court. And I have some bad news. I have some bad news. The prosecutor came and told me that the owner decided not to show up to court today and sent a letter stating he's just not coming.
That's unacceptable.
Because he know he wrong.
Do we think that this is acceptable?
No.
Do we think that this is right?
No.
Because if it was one of our sons in our community that had to show up to court, they would have had to show up, or there would have been punishment or penalties, and they would have thrown them under the jail.
That's right.
And this is unacceptable. So when this court calls the name of Martin F. Rothman, I know we're supposed to have court decorum, but I believe that if we together say boo or let the court know that this is unacceptable, they will hear us. But we have to do that in a decent and orderly manner. When it is time to stop, we stop. I don't want anybody being pushed out by a court-martial today. We are not here to go to jail today.
Yes, we are.
But we have to do things in decency and in order. And hey, if y'all down to go to jail today, listen, Mayor Bronin is here. He got money.
Get us out.
Look, he got money. I done seen the budget sheet for that campaign. He can get all of us out, okay? All right, so we are going to go in approximately 6 minutes to get ourselves squared away in the court so we have a seat. If you have any weapons on you, I just want to just make that public. If you have any weapons on you, please leave them in the car. If you have any knives or anything like that, I'm just saying that so everybody knows. So, all right, there is a metal detector. All right, so in a few moments, we are going to go inside. No more! Slumlords! 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 What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
If we don't get it.
Shut it down.
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 No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice!
No peace!
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 Hey, hey, ho, ho! Slumlord!
Got to go!
Hey, hey, ho, ho!
Slumlords 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 got to go!
All right, we're going to go into court now. Taisha, is she doing the interview? Taisha, oh, there you go, I'm right in front of my face. Can you please give Taisha your sign, because signs are not allowed in the court. All right, so give Taisha your sign. We're going to go in, we're going to get situated. Again, make some noise for yourself this morning. Make some noise. Make some noise. Make some noise. We're going to go in and pack the court. Right now, get settled. Court will be starting in just a few moments. Again, when the name is called, say boo. When the judge asks you to stop, we stop. If you just want to go to jail today, we can go, all right? We can go. We can go. Mike Dartis is here. He's got money. He'll get us all out. Okay, Paul Sinat is here. We're good. You're all set. All right? So we are now going to go into court. Again, thank everyone who came out. I know a few of us have to go. I thank you for your time. I thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to Fox 61. Thank you to all the news agencies, Channel 3. Thank you all for covering something positive in Hartford. Thank you to 1199. Make some noise for 1199. Councilwoman Witch Office. Oh, there you go. There you go. Play Arsenal NRC. All of the organizations, all of our politicians, thank you so much. We are now going into the court. North End Power Team! All right, we're now going into court. Thank you so much.
For the landlord from Barbara Gardens Apartments, and that is scheduled for 10 o'clock this morning. Right now, it's not clear the landlord will actually appear, but they have been summoned to court for later on this morning. So we will be making our way inside that court in just a couple of minutes, and we'll bring that full story for you all coming up later on today. But as you can see, they have T-shirts saying "No More Slumlords." They have signs. They are planning on making their way inside the courtroom. Again, Aishville here with Fox 61 News, and we'll have that full story.
All right, let's go. We ready? We ready? Let's go, Marina. Let's go. I'll give you.